3 a.m. ceiling fan spinning above me. Not moving. I remember thinking, I don't feel anything. Not sad. Not scared. Just empty. Like someone had turned the volume down on my whole life and forgot to turn it back up. I lay there and I thought, if I disappeared right now, would it even matter? That's where this story starts. Not in church. Not with some perfect verse falling into my lap. It starts on a bedroom floor, at the bottom of something I didn't have a name for yet. I want to tell you what happened next. Because it might be the thing you need to hear tonight. For about 8 months, I was drowning in slow motion. Nobody could see it. That's the part people don't talk about. I still showed up. Still smiled in the group chat. Still said, I'm good, 17 times a day like it was a reflex. But underneath, I felt like I was carrying something heavy that nobody else could see the weight of. Getting out of bed felt like negotiating with a hostage taker. Some mornings I'd sit on the edge of the mattress for 20 minutes just trying to convince my body it was worth standing up. I stopped answering texts. Not because I didn't care. Because responding felt like lifting something with muscles I didn't have anymore. And here's the part that hurt worse than the numbness itself, I believed God had quietly walked out of the room. Not in some dramatic way. Just left. Like he'd looked at what I'd become and decided I wasn't worth the effort anymore. I'd pray sometimes. Short, flat sentences into a dark room. And I'd wait. And nothing would come back. Just my own breathing and the sound of the fan. I stopped going to church because I couldn't stand singing songs about a joy I didn't feel. I felt like a fraud in a room full of people who seemed to have it figured out. I was lonely in a way that had nothing to do with being alone. Then one night. I don't even know why that night specifically, I picked my Bible up off the floor. It had been collecting dust on the side of my bed for weeks. I didn't open it looking for anything. Honestly, I think I opened it out of guilt more than faith. Like maybe if I just touched the pages something would happen. I landed on Psalm 34. And I read this line, the righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them, he delivers them from all their troubles. And then the next line hit me somewhere I wasn't ready for. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Close. Not far off, disappointed, waiting for me to get my act together. Close. I remember reading that word 4 or 5 times. Close. Like it was too simple to be true. Because everything in me had assumed the opposite, that brokenness pushed God away, that I had to be strong enough, put together enough, faithful enough to earn his attention. But the verse didn't say he's close to the strong. It said close to the brokenhearted. That cracked something open in me. Not healing, not yet. Just a crack. Just enough light to realize maybe I'd been believing a lie the whole 8 months. Maybe the emptiness wasn't proof he'd left. Maybe it was exactly where he said he'd meet me. So that night, I didn't pray the way I used to. I didn't clean it up. I didn't perform it. I just said, out loud, in an empty room, God, I don't have anything left to offer you. I'm not strong right now. I'm not faithful right now. I'm just tired. I don't know if you're still here. But if you are, I need you to be close, not because I earned it, but because I can't do this on my own anymore. That was it. No formula. No polished language. Just weakness laid out flat on the floor. And that's when I thought about Paul. About the thing he heard when he begged God to take his suffering away, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. For years I heard that verse and thought it was about being okay with your flaws. But that night I understood it differently. It wasn't permission to have weakness. It was a promise that weakness is where his power actually shows up best. I wasn't disqualified by how broken I felt. I was, somehow, in the exact position where grace works. I didn't feel lightning. I didn't feel instantly fixed. But something in my chest loosened, just slightly. Like I'd been holding my breath for 8 months and finally let a little bit out. I wish I could tell you I woke up the next morning and the depression was gone. That's not what happened. And I think it's important I don't lie to you about that. The heaviness was still there the next day. And the day after that. Healing wasn't a light switch. It was closer to a slow sunrise. So gradual you can't point to the exact moment it changed, but eventually you look up and realize it's different than it was. Here's what I actually did, practically, starting that week. First, I anchored one verse a day. Just one. I'd write it on a sticky note and put it somewhere I'd see it, the mirror, the dashboard, the lock screen. Not to fix my mood. Just to remind myself of something true when my feelings were lying to me. Second, I started being honest in prayer instead of performing it. No more polished requests. If I was angry, I said I was angry. If I doubted, I said I doubted. Turns out God can handle honesty a lot better than he can handle a performance. Third, I reached out to one person. Just one. I told a friend, plainly, I've been struggling more than I've let on. That sentence terrified me. But it was the first brick removed from the wall I didn't realize I'd built. Fourth, I gave myself permission to seek help beyond prayer alone. Faith and counseling weren't in competition. I started talking to someone. Because sometimes God's closeness shows up through a licensed professional sitting across from you just as much as it shows up in a verse at 3 a.m. None of it was instant. All of it mattered. If you're watching this right now, and you know exactly what that ceiling fan moment feels like, I'm not here to tell you to just pray harder and it'll go away. I'm not going to hand you a formula. I just want you to know something. You are not disqualified from being close to God because you're falling apart. That's not how it works. That was never how it worked. You don't have to clean yourself up before you talk to Him. You don't have to find the right words. You can walk in exactly as tired, as numb, as angry as you actually are. And if the silence feels loud right now, if you've prayed and it feels like nothing came back, I've been there. I'm not going to pretend that away. But I will tell you this, close doesn't always feel like a lightning bolt. Sometimes it just feels like being able to breathe a little easier than you did yesterday. You don't have to wait until you're strong to be heard. You are allowed to come as the brokenhearted. That's literally who He said He stays close to. I'm not fully on the other side of this. I don't think healing has a finish line you cross once and never think about again. Pause. But I'm not on that bedroom floor anymore either. And some nights, that's enough to call it grace. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs hope today.